This video is sponsored by Wren. Learn more about how you can make a positive impact on the environment with Wren later on in the video. Hi, I'm Robert Tolby, and today I'm talking about rich people obliterating every hint of color from their lives. If you're on TikTok, I'm sure you've encountered Haley DeRoche, a content creator known as That Sad Beige Lady. Putting on a German accent and taking on the name of the filmmaker Werner Herzog, DeRoche cracks jokes about the growing popularity of children's clothes and home decor that are, well, sad and beige. As humorous as Sad Beige Lady's videos are, exposure to color is an important part of the human experience, and environments devoid of color may have implications beyond just being drab and boring. Color has tremendous symbolic value, and what colors you surround yourself with can be a marker of your gender, your personality, and most notably, your social class. Centuries ago, the ruling class distinguished themselves from the lower class with their brightly colored clothes. While peasants dressed in sad beige clothing, kings and queens draped themselves in ornate blue and red fabrics embroidered with gold thread. Today, the roles have seemingly been reversed. The upper class now spends hundreds of dollars to dress like French peasants ready to storm the Bastille, while the lower classes wear patterned and brightly colored clothes. The same can be said for interior decorating. This was everyone's dream dining room during the Gilded Age. Notice the bright colors, the painted ceilings, and the explosion of detail and patterns all over the room. In contrast, a Google search for a modern formal dining room will turn up endless images of sad beige chairs in a boring white room. The Vanderbilts of the 21st century wouldn't dare let a pop of color invade their New York penthouse apartments. So what changed? It's possible that the wealthy may have learned their lesson. American railroad, oil, and steel barons of the 19th century flaunted their wealth, building their own mini Versailles brimming with color, and were rewarded with income tax. The upper class quickly learned to keep their head low, lest it be parted from their body. Perhaps beige and white became a form of camouflage, allowing one to blend in with the lower classes. As the wealthy's affinity for beige grew, designer brands, which once produced very colorful outfits, had to cater to these new tastes, and now sackcloth dresses grace the catwalks in Milan. This adoption of a beige aesthetic by the upper class has resulted in a kind of beigeflation, a rapid spike in the prices of all things colorless and drab. The exorbitant price of beige products has not stopped the millennial petite bourgeoisie from trying to adopt this aesthetic. Beyond just dressing in beige and painting their walls white, they dress their children in beige and decorate their nurseries with sad beige rainbows and stiff wooden toys. Expecting couples are the primary consumers of all things sad and beige. Parents who have the means will spare no expense to make their kids' childhood as boring as possible. Compare the price of a blanched baby gym from Nordstrom to the price of a brightly colored baby gym from Walmart. The sad beige one is 3 times the price, despite it being a worse baby gym. If you were a baby, which one would you rather play with? A boring wooden baby gym or a fuzzy, bright, and colorful baby gym? Considering that 9 out of 10 babies would prefer the Walmart baby gym, I'm seriously wondering whether parents are even thinking about the baby at all when purchasing these toys. When selecting toys and furniture for their baby, many parents today seem more concerned with how their child's room will look on Instagram and not whether their child will like it or not. Now, I'm no expert in early child development, but raising your child in an environment more colorless and sterile than Hawkins' lab doesn't seem like a very good idea. Exposing your baby to more hues than beige seems like it would be critical in developing an enriched understanding of the world around them. But what do I know? I'm not a psychologist. As the upper class adopt this expensive beige interior decorating, the remarks about what's best for a child have become increasingly dripping with classism. Parents love to tout their playroom as a Montessori playroom, which is a term that has become basically meaningless these days, as there is no real official vetted Montessori guidelines that are to be followed based on contemporary literature about early child development, to my knowledge. This Montessori stuff dates back to some dead Italian lady who may have had a few good ideas over a century ago about childhood education. The Montessori method has been studied by researchers, and it certainly is not harmful. In fact, it may even be effective in some ways in preparing children for a structured learning environment. But these findings are from studies conducted by experts in early child development. I sincerely doubt the environments created by parents who learned about the Montessori method from mommy blogs would exactly mirror the positive findings of many of these studies. Said blogs are loaded with condescending phrases, bashing the kinds of affordable, brightly colored plastic toys that kids absolutely love, and bombarding the reader with Amazon affiliate links to $45 sets of beige wooden blocks and monochromatic rainbows. Their message is clear. You are raising your child in an inferior environment if you can't afford to spend hundreds of dollars on boutique Scandinavian playsets. Speaking of environments, let's talk about the environment and how you can make a difference in the climate crisis with today's sponsor, Wren. Wren is a website that allows you to calculate your carbon footprint and offset it by supporting a variety of carbon reduction projects, such as tree planting, mineral weathering, and rainforest protection. Simply answer a few questions about your lifestyle to find out your carbon footprint and ways to reduce it. While no one can reduce their carbon footprint to zero on their own, you can offset what you have left, reducing the emissions you generate. When you sign up to make a monthly contribution to offset your carbon footprint, you'll receive monthly updates from the projects you support. You'll be able to see exactly what your money is being spent on, with photos and details of every tree planted, every acre reforested, and every ton of carbon offset. One of the more interesting projects that Wren is funding is a project that provides clean burning fuel and cook stoves to refugees in Uganda. This project turns waste from farming into clean burning charcoal briquettes, which will meet nearly all the cooking fuel needs of the over 200,000 refugee households in Uganda, while saving over 1 million trees each year. This is just one example of the diverse and impactful projects that Wren is supporting in the fight against climate change. It will take a lot to end the climate crisis, but you can start making a difference today by learning more at wren.co, and as a special offer, the first 100 people to sign up will have 10 extra trees planted in their name. So don't wait. Visit wren.co to make a difference in the fight against climate change. Returning to the topic of sad beige playrooms for children, playrooms that are decorated in only shades of beige are touted as being a more natural environment for a child to grow up in. But what exactly is a natural environment? Many of the wooden toys, fabrics, and furniture in these playrooms are specially treated with various pigments and chemical baths to make them as beige and boring as they could possibly be. The outside natural world is incredibly colorful, so colorful that these monochromatic environments seem unnatural to me, if anything. I don't know if these parents have seen what the real world looks like, but last I checked, rainbows aren't the color of gently used toilet paper. Unfortunately, the adoption of this artificial sad beige aesthetic is closely associated with a very concerning kind of parenting, obsessed with all things natural and organic. While drab beige interior decorating probably isn't harming children too much, sad beige parents are often the ones feeding their infants natural baby foods that don't meet FDA nutritional requirements, refusing to take their children to the doctors out of fear of them being pumped up with unnatural chemicals, and homeschooling their kids in irresponsible ways, depriving them of a proper education. Now, I'm not saying every parent who decorates their home in a sad beige manner does these horrible things. I'm just saying there is definitely a not insignificant correlation. But why is that correlation there? I believe there is an underlying factor linking the two together. Certain lines of beige products have garnered a cult following, and when I say cult following, I literally mean a cult. The top consumers of these products have formed communities of parents, and it's within these communities that baseless conspiracies and harmful rhetoric are shared, or so I've heard. Many stay-at-home parents have gone from being a little concerned about chemicals in brightly colored plastic toys to believing that vaccines will make their children transgender. All it takes is joining a group of like-minded natural parents on Facebook who, along with sharing ideas for decorating their sad beige nurseries and recommending brands of boring wooden toys, proliferate harmful misinformation. This would sound like a stretch if there weren't multiple personal accounts of this thing actually happening. There's an unsettling connection between the beige aesthetic, misinformation, and deeply prejudiced ways of thinking that hide in seemingly innocuous stylistic decisions. Despite this connection, I don't think the beige clothes and toys are the problem here. The problem is that we live in a culture that uplifts the supposed purity of fair, untainted, monochromatic color schemes and denigrates all things rich and colorful, branding them as garish and ugly. This problem is compounded by classism, where the subjective tastes of the upper class are seen as the natural order of things, despite how unnatural bleached wooden toys and monochromatic rainbows are. I sense a revolution on the horizon, though. Generation Z is growing old. They're thinking about having families of their own, and they're watching their millennial cousins, siblings, and neighbors raise spoiled iPad kids clad in beige, and they're taking notes. I honestly believe the mockery of the sad beige aesthetic will cause its downfall, and creators like Haley DeRoche and their Werner Herzog TikTok series are dismantling this trend and its classist roots, one umlaut at a time. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and maybe even check out my sponsor, Wren, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye!